Okay, my name is Laba Ezra, and Laba Ezra is an advocate of good governance, actually among the Kisumu Gen Zs, representing Kisumu Gen Zs, precisely Olive estates of Kisumu. So maybe one wonders what it means to talk about good governance. What do we mean when we talk about social accountability? Those are the minute details that we always leave out when we want to advocate for what is ours and what rightfully belongs to us. But si usahau. So let's take a good look at it. How frequently do we involve facts rather than hearsay in the fight for good governance? How frequently do we engage experts in the attempt to inform the multitudes that we indeed need to use facts to fight for good governance rather than hearsay? Rather than saying nilisikia fulani yako hivi, oh nani yako hivi, how about to use facts? And those are the things that we advocate for here.
So, like, good governance is more of politics.
Good governance does not majorly dwell on politics. It majorly dwells on leadership.
Leadership.
Because we believe that in leadership, with leadership comes stewardship. And as a steward, you need to be accountable for each and every resource that is put into your hands, for it does not belong to you, but you're just a representation of the owners.
So, Mr. Ezra,
Yeah.
in few years, where are you seeing yourself as an advocate of good governance?
Well, Mr. Ezra, as an advocate of good governance in the few years to come, is seeing himself to be in a position where, in a national position first, and at a position where we shall have managed to inform the masses that there is need to change our idiosyncrasy, our way of behavior and our way of action, for us to get this good governance. Maybe in the parliament buildings, advocating for what is legally right.
So meaning you are joining politics any soon?
Perhaps I'm joining, perhaps I've already joined, not so sure.
Okay, Mr. Ezra,
Yes, yes.
what can you say about the come of Gen Zs? Like the popping of Gen Zs in Kenya.
The emergence of the Gen Z movement. Revolution, huh? Well, you see, everything, a good dancer must know when to leave the stage. When he or she stays for too long, the dancer spoils the music. Think about it this way. The emergence of the Gen Z is precisely to let the old folks know that their time is up. Because they are actually using old tricks on new dogs, which cannot work. So I'm very much positive about the emergence of the Gen Z revolution. And I think we need it so much.
And do you think it's possible that there can be government that is being led by Gen Zs, government that consists of Gen Zs, and everything is being done by Gen Zs?
Well, we have seen it happen in other countries. We have a country in West Africa where the current president is only 35 years old. That is more of a Gen Z, a 35-year-old person. So it is very much possible, but only in the event that we manage to teach the old that first they have to unlearn what they learned so that they can learn the new. We can't have such a system, because you see, life is something that has never been static. Life is far much dynamic. And it has gotten to a time where the wheel is now revolving more so around the Gen Zs. So it is very much possible. And it's a country I'm looking for.
So why do you think Gen Zs can make a good leader?
Gen Zs can make good leaders because, one, these people are equally educated. These people are much exposed. Actually, it is quite weird, because one of the ways of getting informed and educated is through the media. The Gen Zs are so much on the media, both informing, entertaining, and even the social media. So that the Gen Zs have learned a lot on leadership using the media rather than the books. So I think the Gen Zs have the the exposure required and are equally educated to make good leaders.
Mr. Ezra,
Yes.
do you think, or like, am I right to say that is an irony for mentioning that Gen Zs are leaderless?
Well,
Because for me, you can be tribeless, in which is next to impossible, but the only thing you can be partyless. You can choose to not to associate with any of the political parties, but you can't run away from your tribal. You can't run away from your backyard, but you can't be a group. Again, you can't be a group
and claiming leaders.
that is not being led, because even sheep has leaders.
Well, I want to say that was actually my point of difference with my peers currently. Because I strongly feel that we needed leadership. You see, it is said that it is better to have a flock of sheep led by a lion rather than to have a herd of lions led by a sheep.
So what's your take on Gen Z's not being leaderless?
Actually, Gen Z's being leaderless. Gen Z's being leaderless, my take is, it was a wrong move. Because making it leaderless meant we were going to get information coming from very many angles. And this is where we saw other people coming in, actually having been sought after to come and divide so that the political class could rule by the end of the day. So I believe that the Gen Zs needed a leader, or a class of leaders, whom at least should have acknowledged that the power of leadership vested upon them was in the hands of the Gen Zs who would have chosen them. So it was a wrong move.
So for now tuko na mtu kama Makore. I think I've pronounced it well. Makore and other Gen Zs. Makore popped as a result of Gen Z's movement, sindio? So do you think like mtu kama Makore can make a good governance?
Good governance, I think Kasmuel Makure, well known as Kaskazini. I'd say this about Kaskazini, sincerely speaking. Makure can make a good leader, but not a good leader for the Gen Z community. You can make a good leader nationally if given a docket to handle, but not for the Gen Z community. Though he has the interest of the Gen Z community at heart. What I saw Makure do after he was actually abducted by the state. Makure was abducted, and when he came back, he was manhandling everybody on Twitter and following everybody on X, and yet everybody on X was fighting for the release of Free Makure, hashtag Free Kaskazini, Free Kaskazini. Then when he came, he had nothing to do with us.
Did he speak about it?
Yeah. I actually didn't follow up to whether he spoke about it, because personally I felt disappointed in Makure.
In short, you say Makure is anaogopa. Yeni tunatumia hii word sana, inaitwa aje? Like ni mtu mwenye anaogopa, hawezi kuwa leader.
Makure is that person ambaye he will come, but akiona umecharge, he will withdraw first.
So he can make a bad leader.
Not really a bad leader, but I need a leader mwenye tukisema tunaenda.
Okay.
Kama mbaya. Tukitoka tunaenda.
So for in this crew of national Gen Zs,
yeah,
who do you think can be that person?
I'd like to term somebody whom I think will fall out with whether he's a Gen Z or not, but my number one guy is Eric Amunga. Also popularly known as Amerix on Twitter. I'm telling you, if we had men of substance like Amerix in this country, just about 10 of them, then as a country we wouldn't be witnessing this rotting government that is currently there. So my first proposal would be somebody like Eric Amunga, also known as Amerix. Then from there, we can move on and see if we can get other people. But Amunga would be my first shot.
On other people, talking of other people, some people are proposing Babu Owino. Do you think Babu Owino can fit that position of Gen Z leader?
Well, Babu Owino can fit the position of Gen Z leader in the political world. We are not handling this in the political world. Remember, this is a revolution. We want to kick out the bad governance. So you see, Babu Owino already has a role to play in his part as one of the members of a party that is in opposition. So Babu already has a role to play. So I wouldn't say Babu Owino fits to be the Gen Z leader in this revolution. No, he fits to be a Gen Z leader in the political world. In the event that we want to have Gen Zs occupying the political space, in the event that we want to have a Gen Z related party, Babu Owino fits that. But in this revolution, let Babu continue serving the people.
So, Mr. Laban,
Yes.
now let's get back to music industry and entertainment industry. Maybe in like ukiona watu wa Tanzania, watu wa Uganda, wote wanatu attack as Kenyans that we are lagging behind as Kenyans in music industry and entertainment industry. So like, do you think we are behind musically?
Well, that is not even something to think. That is something that I'm sure. That is something that I'm pretty much sure. That is not something to think.
Are we behind musically and in entertainment industry?
We are not behind. We are very much behind. We are not behind. We are very much behind.
Okay. So what should we do?
Well, you see, I read an article on one of the Buzz papers. And there's one man who talked about why Kenya cannot manage to rise musically. As the Kenyan music industry, we need to look at our culture. We need to uphold the Kenyan culture. Many believe rumba originated from Congo. Well, rumba originated from the Kenyan coast when it was being done in Swahili. But we let our culture slide in an attempt to try and get actually assimilated by the Americans. Nowadays we want to rap, but who is the rap audience in the Kenyan industry? Look at it widely. Look at the kind of music being done by people like Okello Marx and how it tends to thrive more than the other genres of music done in Kenya. This is because they understood how the game needed to be played. Nigeria thrives because of culture. Tanzania because of upholding their culture. South Africa does the same. So does Kenya need to do the same, the Kenyan culture.